So now it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Madhuri Vaideshwar, the founder director of Vaidya Specialized Homeopathy for Children, and as an extension, also Mitra for Life. So Dr. Madhuri is a homeopathic specialist in pediatric health and neurodevelopment. Her areas of expertise are in the homeopathic treatment of developmental disorders, behavioral disorders in children, autism, ADHD, dyslexia, and learning disorders. She is a consultant on child development at several special schools in Bangalore for early intervention. She is also an NLP health coach and uses her expertise in NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, in improving the individual child's EQ and creating programs to improve the independence and productivity of children with special needs as they grow into teenage and adulthood. So I now hand it over to Dr. Madhuri to talk about Pranetra, which is our holistic support for your child's development. Briefly, Pranetra is a program for parents of 2 to 12-year-olds with special needs or developmental delays. And we have put together 10 sessions by experts on how to support your child at home with a wide range of topics covered. I now hand it over to Dr. Madhuri.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. So I will briefly be talking about why we came up with this program. This has been a result of all the clinical work that has been done in the past couple of decades. We said, when the child is diagnosed, or there is a developmental delay that we have recognized, or there is a risk of autism or an ADHD that's been diagnosed, what are the next steps that the parent needs to take, right? So typically we, there are a few things that all parents will do. You reach out to certain specialists, you reach out, to medical fraternity, you reach out to certain early intervention centers, etc. Right? Now you said, in the first few formative years of the child, right, up to age 10 or 12, it is largely the choices that are made by the parents and the support that you can provide at home, which really makes a difference, right? So this is something that we have initially was a lot of clinical work that was done. And then we said, let's put a program together. And this program is already in its 3rd edition, where we work with experts across different fields, right? What I would like to talk about, let me share my screen. Yes, tell me if you're, please tell me if you're able to see this. Just give me a second. Yes. You're able to see this? Yeah? Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So what I'm going to be talking about is the parent's role in supporting health, development, and learning of a child. We'll do a quick interaction data for any of you who have questions. But right now, let's just look at, once the child, once you recognize that, there is something going off track in the child, or that's not going on track with the child, what is it that, as a parent, what is it that is the ideal next few steps for you? Here, I'd like to just point out one thing. While everybody in this support system will play a role, right? We are not here to give you, to make you a special educator. We are not here to give you a PhD in this topic. We are here just to give you very, very practical aspects of how can you support your own child at home, right? Sometimes becoming an expert in the topic can also take you away from actually supporting your child, because the child still needs you as a parent to really be with them, right? See, now when we just look overall at the parent's journey, as when your child is diagnosed or is pre-diagnosis, you accept that there is something going off track with the child or something that the child needs to catch up with. And then you get to a point where you're saying, can I get the right help? Okay, and provide the right kind of stimulus. So the stimulus can come from, you'll have therapists who will help you out. You will have counselors. You can have the medical professionals. Different, therapists will play this role of providing the right stimulus. The thing that we are now asking is, have we created enough opportunities for the child to learn and develop at home? Because therapies, end of the day, maximum you'll do in a week are a few hours. The majority of the time the child is spending is at home, in the home environment, with the people around, right? Now, how can we maximize it? How can we optimize it, fine tune it so that this can support the child? To give you a very simple example, if you were going to build a house for yourself, right? Yes, you need an architect, you probably need a contractor, you need the laborers, you need, few specialized people. But you will not leave every single decision to them, right? You will have to put in a lot of effort to say, how do you want your house to look? What are the details? What colors do you want on the wall? What sort of styles do you want? You will have to put in hours of work so that at the end of your house being ready, right, it looks and feels the way you want it to. So similarly, though you will have these key people playing a role in your child's learning and development, if you can put in this little bit of time and effort to make sure that the right stimulus is provided, with creating the right opportunities, and of course, recognizing the strengths of your child and working with them, right? And whatever support the child needs falls into place at home, then the outcome that we want, that all of us want for the child, that is a happy and independent child, we can really move towards that. So I'm sure a lot of you have already been through this stage, where you've recognized the problem, you've gone, made sure you moved to diagnosis, or, at least started, reaching out to professionals to see what could be the issue. And then the key thing post-diagnosis, even after you have received a diagnosis, whether it's ADHD or it's an autism or it's a developmental delay, it is very important to keep your distance from that diagnosis and still say, when I look at my child, I believe there's a lot of potential, and there is potential, right? Nobody is telling you that this diagnosis means that child is not going to learn and develop anymore. No, it means that there are going to be challenges. But if we can put things in place, then the potential of the child can actually be tapped into, right? And recognizing the potential of each child, because if we have 10 children in the same age group with the same diagnosis also, the possibilities for each of them, are very unique and very different. The potential of each child is very different, right? And this is something that we really encourage you as a parent to work with. So what is this program actually going to give you, or what is our aim, in terms of when we say we're going to empower you as a parent, when we say we're going to give you resources, right? Now, there are certain components to supporting health and growth. And in the next slide, we'll see components to supporting learning and development, right? Now, this is a very basic thing. This is for any child, right? Normally developing, neurotypical, or with challenges. These components of supporting health and growth are similar, right? So one key thing that we look at, and these are components which we need to look at in the daily routine of the child, right? So it starts with diet. So when we say dear child, if you see, the dear will break up into diet, diet, exercise, activity, and rest, right? So every day we do ensure as a parent that the child is receiving good nutritious food, right? We try our best to minimize junk food. We try to provide whatever we think will help the child grow and develop better. We will hear a lot more about this. We have a session in Pranetra during this 10 hours of by a dietitian, by a nutritionist and a dietitian, who will talk you through what are the best choices you can make for your child, especially when it comes to neurodevelopmental delays, autism, etc., in terms of a diet, right? That is, when we say diet, we're talking about nutritious food, right? Then when we come to activity, now activity means what is this child doing with their hands and their eyes and their ears through the day, right? Are they just sitting with a device with, watching something on YouTube? Or are you actually exposing them to, say, 5 or 6 different activities every day, even at home? I'm not talking about what they do at therapy, right? Even whether it is, we have a session on play therapy, right? Simple, through very, very simple things you have at home, how can you create activities which will stimulate sensory development, which will stimulate learning, right? So we are going to focus largely on what are the activities you can do at home to help the child learn and develop better, along with supporting their health at the same time. And of course, there's a component of exercise, right? Now we know that, for example, if there's a child with a speech delay, right? I've in clinic encountered a lot of families who will think that let's keep doing speech therapy through the day. Let the child go to school, special school, come back, go back to speech therapy, right? And we don't have time for play. We don't have time for exercise, right? Now, what happens with the brain is what we call whole brain development. The brain never develops one part at a time. Oh, right now, speech will develop for the next few months, and then another area will develop, right? Everything is growing and developing at the same time, simultaneously, and one will stimulate the other, right? So exercise is a very key component of development for your child. The more activity there is, the more, and you will see a lot in our session on both OT, on sensory integration, on play therapy. You will see how this exercise is defined. It is not just going and putting them in a class, because that is a challenge. If a child already has certain challenges, you will find it a challenge to go leave them in a class and walk away, or go take them to a class where there are other children around. You may find that it's difficult to introduce a sport at this point, right? But exercise can mean a lot of different things, right? So this is something we will look at. And of course, rest. We see so many children who have very restless sleep. They're always tossing and turning, or they sleep extremely late in the night, and then they don't wake up early. Now, all of this will contribute to brain development slowing down, right? Or neurodevelopment not being on track. Any issues you're having, behavioral issues, tantrums, all these get much more complicated if the sleep component is not, is not balanced, right? So all these contribute to each other. They have to come in together. You cannot just go and fix. No. I have a lot of families who will tell me that, no, eating is the only problem. My child does not eat properly. Let's not worry about anything else. It doesn't work that way, right? Everything has to be balanced. The more activity there is, the more exercise there will be appetite. The child, will eat, and then the sleep also improves because of these components, right? And of course, the key thing being maintaining a balance between all of these. Not too much sleep, not too much eating, right? Or not too less exercise, too less activity. So it is also maintaining the balance. And this is what you will see. This is a theme that you will see throughout the session. Every person, every expert taking each session will be bringing these components together for you, right? Now, when it comes to this is about stimulating learning and development. for a child where there are challenges, right? So we have again a very holistic approach, right? Each child may not need all of this. You just have to pick in each of these areas, what does my child need, right? Unfortunately, even today, all these therapies are very standalone. So unless you go to a speech therapist who will tell you what to do, and then you go to another therapist who will tell you what sensory integration you can do, then you go to the third person, you go to the fourth person, right? By the time you run through all this, you are exhausted, right? And it's also not practical to be able to actually add these on as therapies for the child, all of these simultaneously. So, which is why we are giving you the most practical aspects. Again, none of these sessions are going to be theoretical. You are going to be given concepts, and the only focus that you will have through these sessions, the only thing you will be thinking about is your child. You will have this in mind saying, okay, my child. Now, does this apply? Is this challenge there? To what level is it there? And whatever concept is being shared, how can I do it at home for my child? This is what we will be empowering you to do, right? So it starts with speech and language stimulation. Now, this is one of the key things that needs to be taken care of at home, right? Very simple. I'll give you an example. One of the things I talk to parents about a lot of the times is, when whatever time you spend at home with the child, yeah, we all have our jobs as moms and as dads and whoever at home. Everybody, we all have other things we're doing, whether it is work or it is work at home or it is the housework, or it's cooking, whatever. We have all these other components, right? Now, how much time do we actually spend with the child, sitting, looking them in the face and speaking very clearly like this, and speaking in our mother tongue like this? I want water. I want water. Or you say, give me water, right? If you can do this, and not specifically this is why we have I'm not an expert in, speech and language therapy. We have the therapist who will be taking the session, who will take you through this entire, range of exercises or range of things that you can, activities that you can do for your child at home, and spend some good time doing it, right? And it can very easily become a part of your routine. We have really worked to keep every session in Pranetra very practical. There is no referring textbooks. We are not going to be sending you reading links, this website, you read that, you read, you come back, take an exam. No, the exam you're going to have is your child. How your child does in the next few months after you've done Pranetra will give you your result of this program, right? So, and also one of the things we follow that is very different from what is done in a lot of other places is the entire program, or all the therapists, all the experts you will see are very rooted in our cultural practices, right? How and why is it important to actually talk your mother tongue to your child to stimulate speech, right? That and whether it is play therapy, a lot of our traditional games, they're made for this. A lot of our simple regional language, the rhyme, not just your English rhymes, but the regional language songs, the simple stories for kids, these are made actually for speech development. Even as simple shlokas, the simple prayers that we teach children are made for speech and language development. Only we let it go thinking, no, I have to follow textbook speech therapy. Textbook speech therapy didn't come from our cultural knowledge, right? Which was sort of handed down. So every session we have is rooted in, nobody, even in the OT session, in the occupational therapy session, you will always be using very simple material that is available at home to actually work with your child. Nothing complicated. You don't have to go and go to 5 different places, spend a lot of money, buy a lot of equipment. It's not about that. It's about the simplest of things that you can use as a resource to teach your child, whether it's fine motor skill or it is sensory development, any of these, right? Even with play therapy, it's nothing complicated. It's extremely simple, right? And then you pick up and implement whatever is right for your child. Everything that is shared may not be applicable to your child, but in each of these sessions that you're going to sit through, if you can just pick up, a few points to say that I will apply this with my child. I'm going to start and say, okay, let me start doing this with my child, right? And of course, we address behavioral, we have a great session on behavioral therapy and how to, one key thing that a lot of parents talk about, is my child ready for school? How do I start teaching them simple, subjects? It could be your ABCs, it could be your 1, 2, 3s, or your basic math, your very basic. So how do you actually introduce academics? So we have, and we have the best of experts taking all these sessions, right? And again, to reiterate, what you're going to be doing through these sessions is focusing on your child. At the end of all these sessions, what we want you to have recognized is, what is my child good at? What do they enjoy doing, right? This will be the strength of the child. Whether the child is 2 years old or 6 years old or 10 years old, you can recognize the strength, right? Just, some of the parents we work with, I think during some of the sessions, we've always shared this. When you're sitting through the Pranetra sessions, keep a photo of your child in front of you. Don't think about, that other child I have seen, my neighbor's child or that other child at school. No, this is just about you and your child. Okay. And focus on coming up with these answers for yourself at the end of the session. We also have an entire session which I will be taking on recognizing and working with the strengths of your child, right? Because rather than work with weaknesses, when you work with their strengths, you will see their weakest areas start improving rapidly. So what we are asking you to do, what we want you to be doing so that your child, can get on the right developmental track, can improve, can, be the best they can be, is they're asking you to empower yourself, right? It is not even tools. We're just going to give you a new perspective or some ideas about what you can do at home, right? So once you have that knowledge, you just practice it daily. You make a routine, between whoever is at home. You can divide this. We welcome, both parents to attend the sessions, or whoever is spending more time with the child, please attend the session. If there's a much older sibling, or there's an aunt or an uncle or a grandparent who's very involved, they can also attend, so that each person, when they look at this, will get certain ideas. Then when you practice it daily, getting the child independent, even at this age. We do extensive work with parents of older children, teenagers, about independence, but really this is where it has to start, right? So independence can mean something as simple as potty training. It can mean something as simple as being able to feed themselves. By age 4, 5, whatever you put food in front of a child, they should be able to eat, right? So that is a key thing when you look at the future of your child, whatever, 10 years from now, this is the point at which you start making choices for them to be independent, right? And then you will build on that skill. Okay, child can't pick up a spoon, fine. You will get tips on how to build that skill, right? And then once you keep on training that, it will become competence. That is that they'll get good at it, right? And then, of course, we always encourage a strength-based approach. Just because the next child, something works for that child, it may not work with this child, work for your child, right? You recognize the child's strength and we work from that point. And of course, one of the key things that, again, we're going to be reiterating is look, it's very easy. I've met so many parents who say, I'm in a great place at work, or I can handle anything at home, but I can't handle my child. Because when I'm just me, I'm confident, I'm efficient, I can handle an entire team at work, or I can put up a huge event. I can do all of that. I'm able to handle anything, any challenges that are thrown at me. But the minute it comes to, parenting, the choices I make, the decisions I make, the first thing I feel is very helpless because I don't know what to do. And it always starts with the question of why me? Why do I have a child like this? Right? Why did this happen to me? Right? And then the minute you're feeling helpless, you're feeling like, why did this happen to me? It is automatically going to go into, I don't know what to do. I simply don't know what to do. And then there's a lot of frustration, which then will affect the child, because you are the person, one person or two people as the parents who will be able to work with your child, who will need to work with your child for, a few years and really tap into the potential. And if you are being a frustrated version of yourself, you're feeling helpless, like, oh, I can't handle this, I don't know what to do, and you just think that I will leave them in this therapy, I will take them to this therapy, and we get into a very hyperactive mode in this process as parents, right? Then it is just not beneficial. And this we'll tell you with great experience with all the work we do with Mitra. We have an adolescent support group. We have a support group of parents where the children are 16, 18, 20. And we know the ones who have done really well for themselves, the parents who really managed to make the child independent, always share one thing in common. They'll always say, we started very early. We knew that along with whatever we were doing, therapies, or the support or the medication or whatever it was that was going on, we knew we had to learn a little bit to support the child. And that's just what we're asking you to do here, right? So our aim for you with this program is that you are able to, get your child happier, healthier, and well adapted to the environment, right? We're not, asking you to really say, okay, everything will disappear. They will learn perfectly at the end of this program. That's not going to happen, right? But whatever support they need, whichever level they are at, you should be able to really take them to a much better level. Yeah. Okay. So this, sorry. Yes. So yeah, wishing you all the best. We look forward to seeing a lot of you at the program. We do have support groups, that you can join, where other parents share their experiences of, what choices they made with their child. And this can be an ongoing support for you. Even after the program, you can reach out, you can, for the next few months, you can constantly come back to the support group and share what you tried and what the results were. And really tap into that network. See, we've created a lot of this saying, if we empower you as a parent, there is nobody better than you who can do this job. There really is nobody. Even if I give you the topmost expert in India as a therapist, right? They will spend very limited time with your child. You being with the child majority of the time, you are the best resource available for the child, right? So again, wishing you all the best. And we're here, so please utilize whatever support is there. Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much. If there's any questions, I think we'll take it at the end of the session. I think over to you, Samyukta.
Yeah. So one second. I'll just continue from where we left off. So just, to summarize what Madhuri said, this workshop will help you prioritize and work towards your goals for your child. It will help you plan and structure your child's activities at home. get practical and functional approaches to learning that can be easily implemented at home, and optimize the environment at home for your child. And through this, sometimes we also demystify the therapies which your child is undergoing to help you understand the therapies better. So I'll quickly introduce our speaker panel and topics that we're going to have. So on August 8th, the first session on Monday, we'll start with speech language stimulation at home. The speaker is going to be Grishma Gautamaditya, a well-known speech language pathologist, and she's also Hanen certified for It Takes Two to Talk program. August 9th, we have occupational therapy by Shakila Banu ma'am, who's the founder and managing trustee of Tom and Jerry Special School. And 10th of August would be behavioral therapy by Smita Narayanan, founder of Marg Interventions and a registered behavior technician. 11th August would be Approach to Academics by Dr. Reena Rayal, a special educator from Vrindavan Education Trust. And 12th of August would be Sensory Integration, a very important topic by Soumya Kuduvalli, a developmental psychologist and neurocognitive developmental therapist. After that, we take the break for that long weekend, 13th, 14th, and 15th, the Independence Day weekend. We are not going to have sessions. So we continue on August 16th with Srimati Venkatraman, a clinical dietitian and wellness nutritionist. And 17th of August would be Learning Through Art Modalities by Sumati Ramji ma'am, arts-based therapy practitioner and special educator at Deepika School. And 19th August would be Play Therapy by Shayantini Sinha. And again, it's the weekend break, and we close with 22nd and 23rd. 22nd would be Emotional Wellness for Me and My Child by Usha Madan ma'am, a very well-known family counselor and psychotherapist. And we will conclude with a session by Dr. Madhuri herself, like she said, tapping into the potential and strengths of your child. That would be the topic. So what parents say, we have some of the parents who've done the session before. So I would invite Priya is here, I think. So Priya, if you can come forward and quickly share your experience and feedback about the workshop.
Yes, thank you, Samyukta. Thank you, Dr. Madhuri. So I was part of the previous batch of Pranetra, and it has been a wonderful experience for me because as doctor had also summarized and we saw the gist, the entire set of activities were very practical, things that I could do with my son while I'm just part of my routine. I had a plan and then I started implementing the activities from the speakers, the tips that came from the speakers. So it was a very practical and effective approach, and the whole module gave a very holistic approach covering all critical aspects from a child's point, be it diet or so earlier my focus was more towards the academic side, but then after attending the program then I realized how a holistic approach can make more difference to the child because we are understanding their needs better and we are catering to it accordingly. So that changed my perspective completely. And the speakers are all they were all very subject matter experts, so they gave very crisp and clear inputs, very practical and effective. And if there are any doubts, there was also a doubt clearing session towards the end. So overall a very planned and effective approach. And the resources that we got, in fact, that's one very critical very important thing that I would want to say, because they were very useful. And the ready reckoners, even now if I have any quick doubts on any of the topics being covered, I would go back to the presentation. So there was a presentation being shared after each session which had quick takeaways, and that had crisp points in terms of what were all the crisp takeaways, and that has been very helpful. So even now if I have to just have a quick recollect, I would go back to those PPTs, and that brought me back on the subject. So overall it's been a very effective program, and till date I've been able to implement and connect better with my son. So with the inputs that I got from the speakers and from the entire program, I've been able to connect better and understand his needs better. So thank you so much. It's been wonderful journey, and it's been an eye-opener as well from a parent's perspective. So thank you.
Thank you, Priya. So I know you took the time off from your puja preps and came.
This is something which is I actually wanted to share, because even now, be it diet or any topic, I immediately remember. So when I take the Kisan Jam, earlier I would just take it off, but now I think twice, and that's mainly because after attending the diet session, I know that what should I be doing and what I should not be doing. So anything from a child's perspective, what is healthy, and gave me a lot of inputs and insight. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Priya. Yeah, so we'll quickly conclude. So this is the just the summary of the workshop. So we're going to start on 8th of August. It will run till the 23rd. So minus the holidays in between, it's 10 sessions, and it will be online on Zoom. Monday to Friday, 5:30 to 7 would be the time. And the program fee would be 6,000 for all 10 sessions included. So we invite all of you to register if you wish. We will be sharing the registration links with you post this session. And please note my number as well as my colleague Priyanka's number is on your screen. So you're most welcome to reach out to us anytime with any queries, and we'll be happy to answer it and help you through the registration. Thank you.